Now it's time to see who has the heart.
If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners.
This is your fight. Now go out there and take it.
You lollygag the ball around the infield. You lollygag your way down to first. You lollygag in and out of their dugout. Do you know what that makes you? Larry?
Lollygaggers.
Lollygaggers.
Welcome to the Best of Tailgate Talk, where we go back into the archives and hear some of our special guests you may have missed the first time around. We'll be back with the Best of Tailgate Talk after this. Come see all your friends at Applebee's in Athens. 12 minutes guaranteed or it's free Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. 7 items to choose from. Can't make it for lunch? Visit them for happy hour, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. or late night. Half-price appetizers with beverage purchase, 6 appetizers to choose from. Call 233-4430 or order online at Applebee's.com and pick your meal up with Carside to go. Applebee's Neighborhood Grill, Highway 72 in Athens, just off I-65. Eating good in the neighborhood. Real estate, real easy. That's the motto at Innovative Realty Solutions, and providing the highest quality real estate services is their mission. With sound real estate advice, the latest information, and a skilled analysis of the real estate market, Innovative Realty Solutions offers a better home buying and selling experience with a fair, ethical, and, yes, innovative process. Innovative Realty Solutions. Visit them on Facebook, online at innovativerealtysolutions.com, at 100 North Clinton Street in Athens, or call 230-5950. Innovative Realty Solutions. Real estate, real easy. When things go wrong, State Farm is here to help life go right. And Agent Michael Howell is the one who can help get things back on track. See Michael for your auto, home, life, health, property, and business insurance, and be ready for those unexpected twists that life throws at you. Ask about banking and annuities, too. Call State Farm Agent Michael Howell at 232-5400. Visit him online at michaelhowell.net or go see him at 903 South Clinton Street in Athens. State Farm Agent Michael Howell. There when things go wrong, here to help life go right.
From day one, First National Bank has been built on a strong foundation of community first. First to lend a helping hand, first to help with community events and fundraisers, first to support local students, athletic programs, and civic organizations, first to support events like United Way, Relay for Life, and many more charitable events, and most importantly, working for our great community. Without you, there'd be no First National Bank. Making communities great together, that's what we strive for.
Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
The world is changing.
Changes. The Tailgate Talk app has changed. It's got a new name and a new look. It's now known as PAS Plus, and it's your home for Applebee's Tailgate Talk, along with James Clement Sports and Calhoun Basketball.
Ooh, change never hurt, huh?
Look for the download links at PASnetwork.net or TailgateTalk.net. PAS Plus, Play Action Sports, plus a little extra. PAS Plus from Play Action Sports. We're back with another edition of the Best of Tailgate Talk. This week, our lineup includes a conversation we had with super agent Leigh Steinberg, who was the influence for Tom Cruise's Jerry Maguire character. We also have a visit with Dale Tafoya, author of the book One Season in Rocket City, How the 1985 Huntsville Stars Brought Minor League Baseball Fever to Alabama. We'll also hear from UAH Athletic Director Cade Smith when we visited there back in February. We go back to baseball with a talk with Ron Rapaport, who wrote the book Let's Play 2, The Legend of Mr. Cub, The Life of Ernie Banks, back in 2019. And we wrap things up with Jordan McCray, former center for the Birmingham Stallions, who were USFL champions last year. By the way, things are looking good again this season as they sit atop the South Division. Keep it here, Applebee's Tailgate Talk. We'll be right back. P4 Physical Therapy is a new outpatient provider offering community-based care with a unique partnership model that allows them to consistently deliver world-class outpatient care, emphasizing personalized hands-on treatment. Whether it's orthopedic, physical, geriatric, or manual therapy, sports or neuro rehab, telehealth, or most any type of muscle or joint pain, P4 Physical Therapy promises to treat you with integrity, compassion, faithfulness, and selflessness. Locations in Athens, Huntsville, and Winfield, Alabama, as well as Fayetteville and Knoxville, Tennessee. Look for them on Facebook or online at p4physicaltherapy.com. Daly & Son Car Care is Ardmore's only one-stop auto repair and tire shop. Whether it's major mechanic or brake work or routine maintenance like an oil change or lube job, Daly & Son Car Care has been satisfying customers all over with their fast and friendly service. They're also your headquarters for quality Cooper tires. Stop by and see Wayne, Nikki, or Dale at 25600 Main Street in Ardmore, Tennessee, or call them at 931-427-4651. They're on Facebook too. Daly & Son Car Care, open Monday through Friday, 7:30 till 5, and Saturday, 7:30 till noon.
Temperatures are not the only thing starting to sizzle. Fiber fast internet from Ardmore Telephone Company is fire. Switch or upgrade to a gig for only $89.90 a month. Stream summer blockbusters. Use your Wi-Fi to monitor your smart grill. Cool off with connected smart home devices. And so much more. Call 800-830-9946 to get gig connected today. That's 800-830-9946. Introductory prices for new fiber customers only.
With all the technology around us today, it's hard to keep up. Goldsmith Technical Services specializes in residential and commercial computer and electronics repair, automation, IT services, and home theater systems and audiovisual services. Goldsmith Technical Services. Call or text 256-203-4226. Visit them on Facebook or online at goldsmithtechnical.com. Let them tailor a package that meets your needs. Goldsmith Technical Services, 256-203-4226. While others have come and gone, the Lions Den Gym has been roaring as a workout and exercise fixture in Athens, growing from its humble basement beginnings in 1981 to their current 10,000 square foot location at 212 Commercial Drive in Athens. The Lions Den offers 24/7 access to their ever-expanding equipment collection that includes treadmills and climbers, elliptical trainers, stationary bikes, loose weights and dumbbells, and over 45 different weight machines. Contact the Lions Den Gym about a membership today at 256-652-2627. Visit them online at lionsdengym.com or on Facebook. The Lions Den Gym, 256-652-2627.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Alabama.
This message presented by the AHSAA and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
Tune in every Tuesday through Thursday this coming football season for the WKAC Coaches Shows. Join us as we get the scoop from Ardmore, Athens, Clements, East Limestone, Elkmont, James Clemens, Tanner, and West Limestone. The WKAC Coaches Shows coming in August on 1080. Welcome back to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
We are joined by super agent of the Stars of Patrick Mahomes. I mean, these are current guys, so he can tell us who all he's had in the past, but we're talking about current guys, and this guy's a pretty mega star right now, Patrick Mahomes, Jerry Jeudy, but we're going to talk about probably one of our favorite guys, my guy, Tua Tagovailoa, and he's also had a movie made about him. We've heard of this movie before. Had Tom Cruise play him, I guess, Jerry Maguire. But we're joined now by Leigh Steinberg. Leigh, how you doing?
Good morning. Nice to talk to you.
Good talking to you. So, Leigh, you've had a lot of people over the years that you've represented it. But like I said, here in Alabama, we're all excited about the guy you've got right now, Tua Tagovailoa.
So, I thought he was the best quarterback in the draft, and thought that he would make a franchise quarterback.
So how has it been being around him? Everybody, in Alabama just fell in love with him about being humble and just being just a great kid. So how have you, the last year or so you've been around him, how have you felt being around this kid?
So he's been that way, and it's really the fact that he was brought up by parents who taught him basic values, spiritual values, an understanding that family and spiritual values and trying to make a difference in other people's lives are important. He's already gone back and established a scholarship at his he's already done a scholarship at his high school back in Hawaii, and he's got plans for a charitable foundation. And he'll end up doing something at the University of Alabama because his whole philosophy is giving back to others.
That's great.
Now, Patrick Mahomes seems to be kind of a similar personality, too, to me.
Well, you're right. The basic part of our practice is the athlete is role model. And we only take those athletes that are going to be high character.
So what's it like in the life of a sports agent? Because to me, the way you are sounding to us, you seem kind of laid back and calm and just almost 180 degrees from the way Tom Cruise was.
Yeah, it's got to be a stressful job without a doubt.
I've done this since 1975.
Wow.
And I started back then. I was going to college. I was going to law school, and I was a dorm counselor in an undergraduate dorm. And they moved the freshman football team into the dorm. One of the students was Steve Bartkowski. And in 1975, he became the very first player picked in the NFL draft. So that's how I started my career.
Wow.
And then I saw that athletes could be role models, and if you would root them back into their communities, they would be able to make a positive difference, and that's the way I've looked at it. So we've had 64 first-round draft picks in football. The very first pick in the NFL draft, 8 different years, 11 of our players in the Hall of Fame, and that's Steve Young and Warren Moon and Troy Aikman and the defensive lineman Bruce Smith. But I started in Alabama all the way back in 1984, where I had Walter Lewis, who was the quarterback of the team, and he went on to be quarterback in the USFL at Memphis. But my biggest client ever before Tu and Judy was Derek Thomas.
Love Derek Thomas.
Who made the Pro Bowl, not every year he was alive.
Yeah. What kind of guy was he, Leigh?
Derek was amazing. He stood next to President Clinton on Memorial Day because Derek had lost his father who was a pilot in the Vietnam War, and he spoke for the aspirations of all young people who lost their parents. He had a program for children's literacy called Third and Long. He was incredible, and he was student body president of the NFL. He had more friends. He could have won in a landslide, and so he was fun and charismatic.
Now, I'm a Cowboys fan, too, so you said Troy Aikman, so you definitely perked my ears up when you said Troy Aikman. So that's definitely one of the guys that I'm impressed with you having there, too.
Well, they went to 3 Super Bowls, and on that team I had Troy Aikman, Darryl Johnston, Russell Maryland, Darren Woodson, and a whole slew of players, and started with Jerry Jones back in 1989.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Now, Leigh, are you related to Mark?
No, the funniest thing ever was one time there's a picture of him and Tiger Woods, and but down below on the caption it said Leigh Steinberg. So that poor guy, Steinberg is like Smith or Jones, in California.
So let me ask this, Leigh. This is Todd. So, you represent a lot of people, a lot of athletes, coaches, whatever. How many times, and if it's come up, has, say, maybe a coaching job come up, and you have 2 or 3 coaches that you represent that might particularly want that job? How hard is it to represent them equally and not, maybe
side with one?
Yeah,
over
side
the
with
other.
one, or at least the others feel like you may be siding with one over the other. I mean, I can't even imagine how that would work out.
You would have to be really clear, so it's not a conflict, that you were honest and open with every one of them about the fact that they were all looking for the job, and then you would do the best job you could representing each one, and then, of course, the college or the pro institution would make the choice, and sometimes it happens. I'll give you an example with players. A couple of years ago, we had 2 running backs, a fellow named Aaron Jones and a fellow named Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Jamal Williams ends up going into the 4th round to the Green Bay Packers. And then Aaron Jones ends up going into the 5th round to the Packers.
Yeah.
2 running backs, only 2 running backs. And they go to the same team in the same year back-to-back. And but you've got to represent each one as if they were the only person in the world.
Yep.
Wow.
Let me ask you this. So I'd seen where you had talked about the players who are not able to play, like in the Big 12, Big 10. You feel like they should have the opportunity to transfer to other schools, and I can't totally disagree with that. But wouldn't it? I saw yesterday where the NCAA said that they're going to give those players another year of eligibility. So now they've got another year. Even if they were able to transfer, wouldn't that kind of throw a little chaos in the way the scholarships are dealt out and kids coming in and leaving and staying, and you know what I mean? It's just I understand exactly where you're coming from.
So I hear you, but here's what I would say: the players are safer playing college football than people their age group are otherwise.
Yeah.
That generation is the one that goes out to parties and has contributed to the spike. Now, if I had a son and my choice was having him running around with no one really looking after him, and Nick Saban telling him that he had to be tested every day, that he had to follow these rules, that he had to live in the bubble of an athletic dorm and all the rest of it. I bet those college football players are safer and show a lower rate of coronavirus than their non-athletic peers. And I'm just talking about fairness. I have all these fathers calling me now because their sons are juniors or underclassmen, and they don't know what to do because they're in the Big Ten or the Pac-12, and they've decided not to play. Mm-hmm. And the college can make that choice, but the young athlete ought to be able to do it. Now, we know that a lot of them are on a college campus only because it takes 3 years for them to be able to come out from their high school graduation to the NFL draft. So I love college football, and if a school chooses not to play, let the young man have a choice to play. I mean, they've been working for this since they've been little kids.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on maybe, and I won't say agents representing college kids, but the college kids getting more, say in maybe, their likeness being used and things of that nature. In
So
cases like that,
good.
would they need representation?
So, whether they need it or not, they're going to get it because California passed the rule last year was SB 206. What it said was that they could market their name and likeness, and they could have a marketing agent to do it the minute they got to a college campus. Now, let's be honest and real about this. There's not going to be a whole lot of players that have enough brand credibility to benefit from this. It's probably only a football quarterback at a high-profile school. So think Johnny Manziel or Tua or Jameis Winston, someone who wins a national championship early.
Yeah.
Because most of the players you're not going to have an offensive guard who has enough profile to be marketed. So it won't affect a whole lot of players.
Hey, Leigh, did you help Tua pick out that new house he got? That's a nice house he got.
No, but we had fun in Gadsden draft night because he had sort of taken out this old like campgrounds. It was sort of like a resort, and every Samoan human being in the United States seems to have been present for draft night.
Yeah, we saw it. You could see at the draft. It looked like he had his whole family there, and but you can tell how close knit his family is, and it looks like he got a big enough house that when they come to visit, that he's got it covered when they come visit him.
Yes, exactly. It's the concept that some of the people that we met have of family is extended family.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about on draft night, you saw, the player and maybe his parents sitting there when they got drafted. What they didn't show you was 100 people in the background.
Yeah. and speak on that a little bit because, here you are representing these young kids coming in. Some of them, haven't, and their families hadn't had a dollar really to their name, and now all of a sudden, they've got wads of it. And, I can't imagine how overwhelming that could be, but, are you able to get, not counseling per se, but are you able to get them some advice on, that so-called extended family, the cousins that you never knew growing up and the friends that you were, third grade. Yeah, Trent Richardson situation where he, gave all his family and friends all his money, basically. Are you able to help them with that kind of stuff?
So from the very beginning, you realize that a player, like most college students, has no idea about the tax code or how to budget or the fact they're going to have a long life after sports. And they get financial planners in their life, and you've got to get one who's ethical that will teach them how to do a long-term budget, how to do a plan, not to support an extended village, to be prudent with their money. And most of these athletes, you'd be surprised. You hear the horror stories, but most of them end up so scared of ending up bankrupt that they're very careful with their money and are not out investing in silly things. And for most players, if they put their money under the mattress from the day they got it, they'd have been better financially counseled than what some players have done. So they get someone who teaches and supports them in their lives as well as an agent, and we work with those financial planners to make sure that that player understands how to build a long-term financial plan.
When you talked about horror stories, you don't have to name names here, but have you ever had clients that were so much of a handful that you might have had second thoughts about taking them on?
Usually, what we profile. So I'm looking at the backgrounds of people like Jerry Jeudy and Tua Tagovailoa. Do they understand they have an obligation to behave in a circumspect way, that they cannot be messing with alcohol and driving, that can't put their hands on another person in anger. We carefully counsel them so prevention is the best cure to, athletic behavior that is not particularly appropriate. And so we make sure before they ever go out that they understand they're in a fishbowl and pretty careful. And I haven't been disappointed a whole lot of times because we lay that down from the start, that fans go to sports. They don't have to go to sports. Fans don't have to go to games. They don't have to watch on TV. They don't have to buy memorabilia. And if you want to keep sports healthy, you better behave.
Now, Leigh, do the players seek you out, or do you scout them out in their junior, maybe into their sophomore, junior year, just to gauge, if this player might be, the one that you're looking for?
So Tua, for example, had help in his agent selection process, and the person who helped him run it reached out to us and set up a appointment. That didn't mean that we would be ultimately chosen, but they were looking for certain types of agents, and so generally it's the parents who are the screeners. Okay. Sometimes they call the office. If we really want to meet someone, we'll call them, which is fine. And it's usually you're meeting with parents. So like with Patrick Mahomes, we met with his parents, his mom, his dad, who was a Major League Baseball pitcher. We met with them a number of times. They've got tough questions, and they'll have other people in the process, a family friend, a lawyer, and you get interviewed. I mean, by the end of it, you could be confirmed, for Secretary of State.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Well, Leigh, we sure appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk to us and telling us all the ins and outs of an agent. We had no idea what all went into it, and we appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk to us for a few minutes.
We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure. Anytime.
Thank you, Leigh. We appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
Have a good day.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was Super Agent Leigh Steinberg. We didn't even get to ask him about Jerry Maguire.
No.
So maybe we'll get to have him. We didn't get to ask him about showing us the money.
He may appreciate that, though.
He might have. He might not even like the movie. We don't know. So we're going to take us a break, and we'll be right back.
Limestone Drug, located on the square in downtown Athens, is your local Health Mart pharmacy. As your local Health Mart pharmacy, Limestone Drug is locally owned and has a personal commitment to the community. Limestone Drug honors prescription drug plans, including Medicare. They accept flex spending cards and fill prescriptions in minutes, not hours. Limestone Drug knows there's nothing more important than your family's well-being. So shop Limestone Drug at 200 West Market Street in Athens, your local Health Mart pharmacy. Limestone Drug, caring for you and about you.
Your roof is the first line of defense for your home. Do you have water stains on your ceiling, paint peeling off your walls, shingles missing? It's probably time for you to get your free roof inspection. Locally owned and operated, licensed, and insured, Yellowhammer Roofing is the Yellowhammer State hometown team. Yellowhammer Roofing. Let our family protect what's most important to you, your family. 256-232-1933 or online at yellowhammerroofing.com.
Spick and Span Power Washing. Patios, sidewalks, driveways, houses, roofs, gutters, and windows. Commercial or residential. Serving Athens, Fayetteville, Harvest, Huntsville, Grant, and Coleman. Visit their Facebook page and see what they can do for you. Get your free estimate. Call 256-795-0505. Spick and Span Power Washing.
For screen printing, sign printing, banners, logo design, and more, look no further than That Shirt Printing Place. Located at 709 North Jefferson Street in Athens. Call 256-444-1827. That Shirt Printing Place. Visit them online at thatshirtprintingplacellc.com. Look for them on Facebook too. That Shirt Printing Place. 256-444-1927. That Shirt Printing Place.
School may be out, but you can still enter your nominations for the Applebee's Athlete of the Week over the summer for the upcoming school year. Just go to tailgatetalk.net and fill out the form. While you're there, check out the Tailgate Talk archives and see what you might have missed. That's the Applebee's Neighborhood Athlete of the Week. Enter your nominations today from Applebee's Neighborhood Grill, Tailgate Talk, and 1080 WKAC. You're listening to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
Joining us now on the Yellowhammer Roofing hotline is Dale Tafoya. He's an author. He wrote a book about the Huntsville Stars. And Dale, thanks for joining us this morning.
Great to be with you guys. And you mentioned you're at a high school park. Joe W. Davis Stadium was built in 1985, and it was designed to be a multi-use park, including having high school sports there as well. So I wanted to throw that in there as well. So again, great to be with you guys.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of high school football games they had there years ago, and once baseball was over and they had to resod the infield with the turf, and it would just get tore up, especially after rain and all that stuff. But we appreciate you joining us, Dale, and just talk about your book. I mean, I went to several Stars games as well as these guys, and it was just a treat to have minor league baseball in the Rocket City at that time.
Yeah, incredible, especially the inaugural year. There was so much excitement, and the city was just ripe for an attraction. As Ray Thoma, I'm sure you guys remember that name, the third baseman.
Yeah.
He told me it was if the city was searching for their long lost son, and they got a whole team of them. The city just treated the players like royalty. And it was just an exciting time. I mean, April 19th, 1985, the home opener, the first game at Joe Davis Stadium, over 10,000 fans crammed the stadium. The Stars mauled the Barons 10-0 with Tim Belcher on the mound. And Mayor Joe Davis, who made all of it happen by fighting hard to get that team to Huntsville throughout the ceremonial first pitch. So that place was electric that night, and the Stars drew over 300,000 for a season attendance, and they led the Southern League as well as won the Southern League championship of existence. Such an exciting time, and I was honored to capture the story.
So, we're talking about the Stars in that inaugural season. I mean, you think about that roster overall and just some of the big names that, if you're from the Huntsville area, people are going to know who those names are. But can you go into some of those names and just see if it resonates with our listeners?
Yes, absolutely. You had a starting rotation that broke spring training that season of Tim Belcher. Yeah. He was the number one amateur pitcher in all of baseball. He was on the starting rotation. Eric Plunk, the late Darryl Ackerfeld, Greg Cataray, and Joe Law. In the outfield, you had Wright, Jose Canseco, who many of your listeners know as Parkway Jose, who hit balls near Memorial Park Highway in left field.
Yes, he did.
You had Stan Javier in center field, Luis Polonia in left. You had three catchers that played in the major leagues. Terry Steinbach was a converted third baseman, but he learned how to catch that first season in Huntsville. Charlie O'Brien made the big leagues. He was a starting catcher for the Stars. Brian Dorsett later came in the pitcher. You had an infield of Ray Thoma at third base, Don Marquette at shortstop, Brian Graham at second base, and Rob Nelson at first. And, of course, you had one of the winningest managers in minor league baseball at the time, Brad Fisher. So, yeah, you had a who's who on that roster, but interesting, the players that really willed and sparked this team to a championship that year was Rocky Coyle and Pete Kendrick. They were underdogs who never reached the major leagues, and I'm sure that name Rocky Coyle still resonates in the Huntsville area today.
And Dale's, and also they had a major league playing GM over the team, Mr. Don Mincher.
Mr. Baseball, Mr. Huntsville. I dedicate a whole chapter to Don Mincher called the Huntsville Kid. Absolutely. Don ran a local trophy shop at the time, and he was itching to return to the game, and his desire to return to the game coincided with Larry Schmittou delivering that franchise to Huntsville, and he smartly chose Don Mincher, to be the GM of that team, and Don Mincher brought immediate local credibility to the Huntsville area with the Stars.
Now, Dale, at the time, Schmittou was also the owner of the Nashville Sounds, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. How this AA franchise got to Huntsville was Schmittou's ultimate vision was to bring a major league expansion franchise to Nashville. Mm-hmm. It came closer when he purchased the Evansville Triplets. The Evansville Triplets were a struggling, fledgling AAA franchise in Evansville. They were in the red $300,000. They were dying. He purchased that franchise to elevate Nashville to AAA. And that was the Evansville Triplets were the AAA farm club of the Detroit Tigers. So in bringing that AAA franchise to Nashville, and they were still called the Nashville Sounds after they arrived, he needed a home for his existing AA franchise. And he had tried to bring a single-A franchise to Huntsville in 1982, but that move never generated any traction. This time, with his AA franchise, he started negotiations with the city council and Mayor Davis, and by August 23rd, 1984, they agreed, and the city council approved the lease, and Joe Davis Stadium was built in a little over 33 weeks. Yeah. On opening night, they were still hanging pictures and were still painting. So it was just incredible story. And again, the Stars, I mean, so many kids during that time, they couldn't wait to get out of school and see the Stars play during that time.
And for myself, I was a 9th, 10th grader, and I can remember, I think the biggest holdup in '84 was the alcohol sales. They were trying to agree on the alcohol sales and all this, and that was the biggest holdup before the team could move here.
You're exactly right. Alcohol sales was one of the hardest things to approve. So the city council loved the idea of bringing the Stars there. But Larry Schmittou said, if I can't get beer sales in the new stadium, then I'm not coming. He was insistent on that. And so they finally reached a compromise that they were going to designate a non-drinker section in Joe Davis Stadium. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they approved it, and that was the key, because that was the key snag. Because, I mean, to purchase alcohol at the time in that area, you had to do it very discreetly in a liquor store or a supermarket. But the notion was, for a minor league owner, you needed that beer revenue to survive an operation. So that was very key to Schmittou delivering that franchise to Huntsville.
We'll be back with more of our Tailgate Talk conversation after this. Real estate, real easy. That's the motto at Innovative Realty Solutions, and providing the highest quality real estate services is their mission. With sound real estate advice, the latest information, and a skilled analysis of the real estate market, Innovative Realty Solutions offers a better home buying and selling experience with a fair, ethical, and, yes, innovative process. Innovative Realty Solutions. Visit them on Facebook, online at innovativerealtysolutions.com, at 100 North Clinton Street in Athens, or call 230-5950. Innovative Realty Solutions. Real estate, real easy.
Temperatures are not the only thing starting to sizzle. Fiber fast internet from Ardmore Telephone Company is fire. Switch or upgrade to a gig for only $89.90 a month. Stream summer blockbusters. Use your Wi-Fi to monitor your smart grill. Cool off with connected smart home devices. And so much more. Call 800-830-9946 to get gig connected today. That's 800-830-9946. Introductory prices for new fiber customers only.
P4 Physical Therapy is a new outpatient provider offering community-based care with a unique partnership model that allows them to consistently deliver world-class outpatient care, emphasizing personalized hands-on treatment. Whether it's orthopedic, physical, geriatric, or manual therapy, sports or neuro rehab, telehealth, or most any type of muscle or joint pain, P4 Physical Therapy promises to treat you with integrity, compassion, faithfulness, and selflessness. Locations in Athens, Huntsville, and Winfield, Alabama, as well as Fayetteville and Knoxville, Tennessee. Look for them on Facebook or online at p4physicaltherapy.com. When things go wrong, State Farm is here to help life go right. And Agent Michael Howell is the one who can help get things back on track. See Michael for your auto, home, life, health, property, and business insurance, and be ready for those unexpected twists that life throws at you. Ask about banking and annuities, too. Call State Farm Agent Michael Howell at 232-5400. Visit him online at michaelhowell.net or go see him at 903 South Clinton Street in Athens. State Farm Agent Michael Howell. There when things go wrong, here to help life go right. Come see all your friends at Applebee's in Athens. 12 minutes guaranteed or it's free Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. 7 items to choose from. Can't make it for lunch? Visit them for happy hour, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. or late night. Half-price appetizers with beverage purchase, 6 appetizers to choose from. Call 233-4430 or order online at Applebee's.com and pick your meal up with Carside to Go. Applebee's Neighborhood Grill, Highway 72 in Athens, just off I-65. Eating good in the neighborhood. Keep up with local school, travel, youth, and amateur sports throughout the week with the Play Action Sports Update. Listen weekday mornings at 7:30 and weekday afternoons at 1:30 and 3:30 as we bring you the latest scores, news, and announcements from Limestone County and surrounding communities. That's the Play Action Sports Update 3 times a day, Monday through Friday on 1080 WKAC. We continue with our conversation on the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
Well, he's talking about Mincher. We've got Coach Johnny Johnson in here with us right now. He's the head coach of the James Clemens baseball team. He's the varsity coach, and he's just kind of giving us some things for us to bring up. That Mincher's grandson is the head coach at the Liberty Middle School, which is a feeder school to James Clemens here, Wes Hopper.
Wow, yeah, incredible. What a great legacy the Mincher family has there. I was able to interview Mark, his son, for the book, and Patsy, his wife, for the book as well. So great baseball family. I believe Don Mincher, you went to Butler High School out there. Uh-huh. So Mr. Huntsville, and when he retired from Oakland, I believe after the 1982 season, that's when him and his family started that trophy shop there, and it was very successful. But again, he had that itch to return to the game, and it came at the perfect time because the Stars got there in 1985.
Well, Mark was the head coach at Huntsville High and won a state championship in 2011. So, yeah, just excellent. To continue baseball legacy here in the North Alabama area.
Yeah, and I first met Don Mincher back in the early 2000s. I wrote my first book, Bass Brothers, and it was about Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco. They were called the Bass Brothers in the late 80s. And I wrote about that Jose Canseco's first year in Huntsville. He was only there 58 games, but he became a Southern League and Huntsville legend in only 58 games there. And I was able to interview Don during that time. He was so generous with his time and so insightful. So I was so thrilled to just capture his story in Huntsville in the book.
Well, if you were a young baseball player back in the early 80s and in the mid 80s and even in the late 80s with the Bash Brothers, you had that poster because I did have the Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco poster of them with the A's. That Bash Brothers look, it was phenomenal.
Phenomenal. It was it devastated the Huntsville fans when Jose Canseco was promoted to AAA Tacoma in July, in the first week of July. It was Huntsville. It was professional baseball. It was their first professional club in 55 years there.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to keep the party going.
Yeah.
And it was an adjustment period when you have this phenom that was there 58 games, and suddenly he's headed west. He got promoted. So that was an adjustment for the Huntsville fans there. It was a very sad day when he got promoted to AAA. I'm sure you're aware of that.
And then a few years later, we got his brother Ozzie, which he is not Jose, but still it was Ozzie Canseco.
Right. Yeah. So I'm sure you had it was nice to have a Canseco on the roster during that time, because Canseco, just talking to the people in Huntsville, he was one of the greatest superstar athletes to come through that area still, and in only 58 games there, he won the minor league player of the year, and he was a Southern League's most valuable player in only 58 games.
That's
and
amazing.
he was out 22 games in Huntsville because of a fractured pinky too.
Yeah.
You have to remember that. He was out on the disabled list for 22 games, and still posted those incredible numbers. He immediately formed a bond with the Huntsville people there. Canseco with his monstrous home runs.
We were talking about Don Mincher a while ago. I worked with his daughter Lori at one of the TV stations here in town. My wife went to high school with her, and I had run across. I was looking through my baseball cards one day and run across a Don Mincher card from when he was with the Seattle Pilots, and got him to autograph it. But he was like, oh, "What in the world do you want my autograph for?"
And Don Mincher, he was a part of 2 expansion franchises before during his major league career. So starting a new expansion pro club in Huntsville was nothing new to him. So I think that's an interesting note as well as far as Don Mincher's role there.
What kind of, you mentioned your Bash Brothers book. You've got another one about Billy Martin.
Yes, that came out in 2020, and it's doing really well. The paperback just came out on March 1st. Lions Press is the publisher. So, and that was a finalist for the Casey Award back in 2020. So, it was an exciting time. Billy Martin was a feisty, incredible leader that was able to turn clubs around immediately. It didn't last long, but he was able to provide that adrenaline rush and spark to turn a team around. And I captured that legacy. And the Huntsville Stars is kind of a sequel to Billy Ball, because after Billy left, the A's focused on building their farm system and bolstering their farm system. And it all came together in Huntsville in 1985 when their top prospects gathered there for a magical season.
So the Oakland A's kind of there's a common thread between all these books here with the Oakland A's. Are you an A's fan?
I grew up about 15 minutes from the Oakland Coliseum where the A's played. And it's interesting, though, like when you're an author, and my first book was Bass Brothers, there's all kinds of spin-off stories. So when you write your first book, there's other stories in the book or other notes and situations where you're saying, I wonder if that's a book. So that's kind of how my other books sprung as well, is when I wrote about Bass Brothers, I learned a little bit about Billy Martin during that time. And when I wrote about Billy Martin, I've learned that after the Billy Ball era that the A's started focusing on their farm system. So, I'm very, very familiar with the A's. And I think there's different books come out of different stories, different spin-offs books. And there's so many great stories when you dive into the bowels of history. And you're able to write a book proposal, and if you're lucky, a publisher will acquire it.
And when you talk about that farm team from 1985, and you think about just how powerful the Oakland A's were, as the plan to develop their farm system really worked as you go into the late 80s, and then of course winning that World Series. I mean, I remember the World Series against the Giants with the earthquake game, and you had McGuire and Canseco and all of them, and so the feeder system really worked well for the 80s for the Oakland A's back then.
Absolutely, and I think that was the plan, was for those prospects, the top prospects in Huntsville in '85, to eventually fuel the parent club, the Oakland A's, to championships, and they did. Eventually, Terry Steinbach joined the A's. Jose Canseco, a pitcher named Todd Burns. He played briefly in Huntsville. I think he still lives in the Huntsville area. Luis Polonia, Stan Javier. I mean, they eventually fueled the A's run as well. And in total, 15 of those players of those prospects that played on the Stars that season in 1985, at some point, they eventually reached the majors. 15 of them. 4 of the top starting rotation reached the majors. I think Joe Law was the only one that didn't. But yeah, incredible prospects, and in all of that, I think the people of Huntsville, they're excited about the prospects, but mostly they were just excited to have this new attraction. Like one Huntsville resident told me, we needed a venue to explode in at that time. The city was so ripe for baseball, and Joe Davis Stadium was the place to be during that time.
Yes, it was.
Dale, how was it reaching out to Sandy Alderson? I know he was the GM at the time of the A's, and just his perspective on the team, of the Stars team at that time.
Yeah, well, it was pretty special, and he wrote the foreword for the book, so it was a feather in his cap, and he knew the temperature and the tone of the A's farm system at that time. So he was a proud to be, as he noted in the foreword, he was a proud to be a part of that era, and even back when he was running the Oakland A's, he was hearing reports about what was going on in Huntsville, about those prospects, and he knew in a couple of years they were going to come to the parent club and muscle the A's to championship. So he had very fond memories of Huntsville, and even Billy Bean. I've known Billy Bean for many years. And he wrote a nice blurb for the book as well. So I think they both value and appreciate what minor league baseball can do. And again, minor league baseball, a sports franchise, could just fill a void in a city. Can bring an energy to the city, and that's what the Stars did in 1985 in Huntsville.
So, Dale, where can we get your book and all your other books as well?
Well, the One Season in Rocket City, that's what this book is called. It's in all the Barnes & Nobles there in Huntsville. You can go to Amazon.com and order it. It should be in other bookstores there. If it's not there, you can ask the bookstore manager to get some copies there. But it's on on all the online portals. And, it's available. The official publication date was April 1st. So, again, I was just so excited. The people of Huntsville were so nice and generous with their time, as I knew they would. The Stars players like Rocky Coyle, Ray Thoma, Chip Conklin, they all told me how wonderful and warm-hearted the people of Huntsville were. So I appreciate them cooperating for the book.
Well, Dale, we appreciate you joining us. Make a trip back to the Rocket City and check out the Trash Pandas. We enjoyed to have you here, and we just appreciate you joining us. And good luck with the book sales, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yes, go Trash Pandas.
There you go. Thanks, Dale.
That was Dale Tafoya. Thank you for him joining us. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Applebee's Tailgate Talk on the Big 1080 WKAC.
From day one, First National Bank has been built on a strong foundation of community first. First to lend a helping hand, first to help with community events and fundraisers, first to support local students, athletic programs, and civic organizations, first to support events like United Way, Relay for Life, and many more charitable events, and most importantly, working for our great community. Without you, there'd be no First National Bank. Making communities great together, that's what we strive for.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Daly & Son Car Care is Ardmore's only one-stop auto repair and tire shop. Whether it's major mechanic or brake work or routine maintenance like an oil change or lube job, Daly & Son Car Care has been satisfying customers all over with their fast and friendly service. They're also your headquarters for quality Cooper tires. Stop by and see Wayne, Nikki, or Dale at 25600 Main Street in Ardmore, Tennessee, or call them at 931-427-4651. They're on Facebook, too. Daly & Son Car Care, open Monday through Friday, 7:30 till 5, and Saturday, 7:30 till noon.
Limestone Drug, located on the square in downtown Athens, is your local Health Mart pharmacy. As your local Health Mart pharmacy, Limestone Drug is locally owned and has a personal commitment to the community. Limestone Drug honors prescription drug plans, including Medicare. They accept flex spending cards and fill prescriptions in minutes, not hours. Limestone Drug knows there's nothing more important than your family's well-being. So shop Limestone Drug at 200 West Market Street in Athens, your local Health Mart pharmacy. Limestone Drug, caring for you and about you.
Your roof is the first line of defense for your home. Do you have water stains on your ceiling, paint peeling off your walls, shingles missing? It's probably time for you to get your free roof inspection. Locally owned and operated, licensed, and insured, Yellowhammer Roofing is the Yellowhammer State Hometown Team. Yellowhammer Roofing. Let our family protect what's most important to you, your family. 256-232-1933 or online at yellowhammerroofing.com.
When you're looking for something special for your next event, why not bring in the most amazingly fine flavored shaved ice this side of the islands, Kona Ice of Decatur and Athens. Whether it's a school or major sporting event, a picnic, or a festival, Kona Ice brings the fun and laughter. From their steel drum music to their signature flavor wave, where guests can flavor their own shaved ice. No event is too big or too small. Kona Ice makes fundraising easy too. Call Kona Ice today and tell them what you have in mind. 256-566-5298. Or look for them on your favorite social media platform. Kona Ice of Decatur in Athens. 256-566-5298. Keep up with Athens and Limestone County sports with a Play Action Sports Report. Look for it every Wednesday on your favorite podcast platform. The Play Action Sports Report. Scores, interviews, highlights, and more from school, youth, and amateur sports in Athens and Limestone County. The Play Action Sports Report every Wednesday on your favorite podcast platform or online at pasnetwork.net. Welcome back to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
Well, the athletic director of the University of Alabama Huntsville Chargers, Cade Smith, is joining us on the show. Welcome.
Good to be on here.
I always want to call everybody coach, but you're a coach, so
that works.
Coach works.
I answer to a lot of things.
As long as it ain't late for supper for me, I don't care what you call me.
There you go.
Well, Coach, AD, whatever you want me to call you.
There you go.
You have a lot going on here. There's a lot of things to be happy about, it seems like, right now for athletics here.
It's a busy time.
Yeah.
Anytime you get into February,
yeah,
one of our crossover seasons, that gets a little bit hectic. I know now we have, of course, all of our winter sports, both basketball teams and both indoor track teams are going, and then now spring sports have started. So I know you've already talked to some coaches today, but both lacrosse teams, baseball and softball, and so that's a lot happening at one time. And then indoor will transition to outdoor track and field, and plus our fall sports are in their spring season. So February is a really, really busy time. But it's an exciting time. You don't get a lot of days off in February.
I was about to say, I'm sure it's keeping you plenty busy.
It doesn't take much. I think we have 16 or 17 days in February where we have home events. Plus, we host a softball tournament in Albertville.
Okay.
It's not on campus, but we're still kind of in charge of it. So February's hectic, but good.
I know. I pulled in this morning. The women's lacrosse team is on the field.
Yep.
The ladies basketball team is on the field. In walks Mississippi College men's basketball team. I'm like, wow, this is a jumping little joint this morning.
It's popping off for sure.
Now, logistically, there's always a lot of moving parts, and especially when you have multiple venues going on. I know we had men's lacrosse out at Charger Park yesterday, and once we get into a few of those days where we have 3 or 4 venues happening at once, those are days where you get here early and you leave late, but those are good days. We enjoy those days.
I was about to say. So, talk to me about what February is looking like for you, like where you're bouncing around to, like some of these events you do have going on. You've talked to me about the sports that are going on right now, but what's it looking like?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, I try to, obviously try to be present at as many home events as we can. Can't always be at the entire event for everything if we have multiple things. But also in February, we have indoor track conference championships down in Birmingham, February the 14th and 15th. Hopefully we're playing conference basketball tournaments, which will start on February the 28th to kind of finish. So I always try to be really present at home games and then as present as I can be whenever we're in postseason. And, not that they're just looking for me there. We got a lot of people that make everything happen. But for me personally, trying to be as present as I can be.
That's one sport we didn't speak about this morning, the indoor track. Tell everybody a little bit about the track team.
Yeah. So, when we talk about us having 15 sports, that are active, 6 of those are running sports. So you have men's and women's cross country, men's and women's indoor track, men's and women's outdoor track. Of course, a lot of those do all three seasons. So especially our cross country runners, they're pretty much going all year long. But really successful programs. I think our men's cross country has won 4 of the last 5 conference championships, qualified for the NCAA national meet this year. Last year finished highest finish ever. Outdoor track, they're coming off of men's outdoor track, coming off of 4 in a row conference championships. They finished 14th in the nation last year at the national meet. And so I know that we're kind of still the indoor season is not long. I mean, they get to a few meets and they go to conference and hopefully qualify for nationals, and by that time the outdoor season has already started, so there is some overlap. But I know that we've already had some of both our men's and women's teams that have qualified, or at least with a provisional time for nationals. So hoping to kind of gear up for conference and get as many people in that national meet as possible. I think the national meet is in Virginia Beach this year.
Okay. Oh, nice.
In March.
That'll be a nice trip.
Maybe that may be one I need to try to show up at. We'll see if a schedule allows that or not. But no, it's a good program. Our Coach Kane's been here for 23, 24, 25 years. He started the track program. He's built the cross country program, and so he's done a really good job. And he's got about 100 athletes that he's over. And
nice.
So that's a lot of people don't know a lot about it, but that's a really, really strong program that we have.
Okay. And so collectively, the coaches that you have here, what do you enjoy about them? What do you think they do well here at UAH?
Well, I mean, first off, a lot of them, I was down on their hallway for a long time. So first off, a lot of them are just my friends. And so, but the things that they do well is they buy into the mission of the university, which is they recruit really smart kids that are going to come here and they're going to graduate. They're going to get good jobs that probably make more than the rest of us.
That is the statistics say you graduate from UAH, you're going to make more money than any other college.
That's right. So they come in, they do that. They get good kids that are active in the community. They're active on campus. They support one another. And so our coaches do a really good job with that. On top of that, they're really competitive. It's not a win at all cost. That's not what we do here. But it's get really good kids that compete hard, that they really put the academics first. Student athlete is accurate here in that order. And then we just have, we have a bunch of good kids.
Yeah.
And so our coaches do a good job of kind of setting the tone for that on who they bring in.
Go ahead.
What kind of every program's growing? Yeah. What kind of expansion do you have looking at things, if any?
This lobby here has been changed since we were here last year.
And they're mentioning the lacrosse team was mentioning possible renovation of a turf field.
Yeah, we're trying to grow some things. We did just have a pretty nice renovation here in Spraggins. We're in the lobby, but our hospitality area, the bathrooms, concession stand, some things done out in the gym as well. That's really been helpful. This is a 45-year-old building now,
yes.
And so it's been well taken care of. But until you do some new things, you don't realize how bad you needed some things. As far as other facilities, I know you talked to lacrosse. We've got to figure out a way to get lacrosse their own space. Right now they share a game field with soccer, and that's 4 different teams that play different games that are all sharing a grass field, and that is a stressor for all of us involved.
So you're talking about putting duct tape down for their
basically
for their lines.
That's right. And then track. We don't have a track on campus, so we're working to try to develop plans to raise some funds to do that. And so, with our track teams and our lacrosse teams, that makes up more than half of our student athlete population that are really not even practicing on campus most of the time. So. As far as that, we've got to figure out a way to enhance our facilities. As far as sport expansion, it's we're always looking for things that make sense, with the university. But before I worry about that, I really want to make sure that we're taking care of what we have first.
Right.
We still have some deficits in some of our budget areas that we need to work on to try to make them as competitive as they can be. But that's kind of where we are on that.
Okay. Professor, producer extraordinary Tim Lambert did a yawn there. Trust me, you were not boring. We just stayed up late.
Hey, it's okay. I get yawns a lot when I talk to people.
It's those dulcet tones.
There you go.
And this may, I don't know, a sensitive question here. I know a couple of years ago, they had an issue with trying to bring hockey back and raising the money for that. And I don't know if that was kind of an aborted mission or
the situation. The last time that anything was mentioned, that's a situation that we're still in. We didn't have any luck getting into a conference.
Okay,
that hasn't changed.
Okay,
it's pretty agreed upon that was going to need to be something that happened. And there's not a lot of people that are adding hockey conferences at this time. Not a lot of people that are adding. Outlier institutions into their conferences, and so right now it's kind of status quo from the last time I was there. I participated in a few calls. We've made some different proposals to different leagues to no avail, but same place you left it.
Because I was trying to think if that was kind of when the whole COVID thing was going on too.
Yeah,
I knew. After you mentioned it, I remembered it was kind of a conference issue. But my wife and I were talking about it on the way. She said, I'd like to go to one of their hockey games. And I was like, might have to wait a little bit for that.
Yep.
So.
Well, but, UAH has done a really good job, keeping everything else going really, really well. And, even with hockey not being what it was, like you just mentioned, maybe something that people don't know about. You talked about men's track and how well that's doing. And one thing I wanted to ask you about is disc golf still really prominent at UAH?
People play it a lot. I mean, it's one of the older courses in Alabama that's on campus here. So, in fact, I drove in a different way this morning and saw some folks out there playing this morning, but I have very little to do with whatever happens as far as disc golf, but I see people playing a lot.
Because I knew it was more recreational, but at the same time, a lot of people do take it pretty seriously, and I know UAH has great amenities for disc golf, especially in the area. There's not a lot of places you can go. So I was just curious.
None of that falls under my department, but we do see people out there playing a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of like our club sports and our intramural things. We got a lot of things going on that doesn't run through me.
Right. What about esports?
We do have a big esports club also that doesn't run through me. But, I think at one point they had 1,000 people that were either in the esports club or interested in it.
Wow.
So that's a growing club on campus for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, I just wanted to touch on, again, a little bit about, every single person we've had on today from UAH has mentioned academics as just integral as part of the athletic process. And I just thought that, you brought up how that's one thing you liked about all the coaches. Well, it definitely is true because they all kind of gave not a uniform answer, but they all agreed that how important academics was.
Well, you want to recruit people that can be successful here.
Yeah.
And our student athletes have the highest GPA of any subgroup on campus, so they do really well. Mm-hmm. Can you get more people in? Like, could they get into school? Yes. But recruiting kids that can also be successful, maybe that's a little bit different than just getting them in. So part of their mission, they do a good job supporting them.
Absolutely.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us. You're listening to Applebee's Tailgate Talk on WKAC, the Big 1080.
Temperatures are not the only thing starting to sizzle. Fiber fast internet from Ardmore Telephone Company is fire. Switch or upgrade to a gig for only $89.90 a month. Stream summer blockbusters. Use your Wi-Fi to monitor your smart grill. Cool off with connected smart home devices. And so much more. Call 800-830-9946 to get gig connected today. That's 800-830-9946. Introductory prices for new fiber customers only.
Real estate, real easy. That's the motto at Innovative Realty Solutions, and providing the highest quality real estate services is their mission. With sound real estate advice, the latest information, and a skilled analysis of the real estate market, Innovative Realty Solutions offers a better home buying and selling experience with a fair, ethical, and, yes, innovative process. Innovative Realty Solutions. Visit them on Facebook, online at innovativerealtysolutions.com, at 100 North Clinton Street in Athens, or call 230-5950. Innovative Realty Solutions. Real estate, real easy. When things go wrong, State Farm is here to help life go right. And Agent Michael Howell is the one who can help get things back on track. See Michael for your auto, home, life, health, property, and business insurance, and be ready for those unexpected twists that life throws at you. Ask about banking and annuities, too. Call State Farm Agent Michael Howell at 232-5400. Visit him online at michaelhowell.net or go see him at 903 South Clinton Street in Athens. State Farm Agent Michael Howell. There when things go wrong, here to help life go right. Now on a platform near you, the only year-round weekly podcast covering the Huntsville Havoc, the Wreakin' Havoc Podcast. News, interviews, and more. Dropping every Thursday, we'll just reek of the Huntsville Havoc. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and listen, follow, and subscribe on your favorite platform via the PAS Plus app and online at wreakinhavoc.com. You're listening to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
We have online Mr. Ron Rapaport, the author of the Legend of Mr. Cub, The Life of Ernie Banks. The name of the book is Let's Play 2. And those that don't know, the famous quote from Ernie Banks was, "There's sunshine, fresh air, and the team's behind us. Let's play 2." Ron, welcome to the show, sir.
Good to be with you guys.
Man, I got to hear all these stories. I mean, Ernie Banks for years was, Mr. Cub. And back in the day when cable first came on, we had 2 ball teams we could watch in the late 70s, early 80s, and that was the Cubs and the Braves down here in the South. So you kind of become kind of a de facto Cubs fan if those are really the only 2 you can get on cable. So
right. You would have missed Ernie in his prime, but he kind of set the table for what the Cubs were all about. He was their symbol, Mr. Cub. I don't know if there's a Mr. Yankee or a Mr. Braves or anything. But, that title kind of symbolized Ernie's, hold on Chicago fans and Cub fans.
And, just like say the legend, tell us some of the stories that you can relate from the book.
Well, the story about Ernie is what we all know about him is 2 things. One is he was this happy, sunny, optimistic, cheerful guy. Never said a bad thing. Nothing bad ever happened. And the other was that he never played in the World Series.
Yeah.
Well, you forget. There are 2 things. One thing that we forget, and one that maybe we didn't know. The thing we forget is what a truly great baseball player he was. I mean, in the late 1950s, 6 years, he had more homers and drove in more runs than Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, Henry Aaron, Eddie Matthews, you name it. Yet those players are all going to the World Series, and in those 6 seasons, the Cubs finished 123 games out of first place.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing, is that Ernie, hid himself behind this mask, this sunniness, this cheerfulness. It was kind of a defense mechanism to keep the outside world outside. If you met him and you started talking to him, you might come away saying, gee, I had this wonderful conversation with Ernie Banks, but all we talked about was me. And what I tried to do in the book is reveal not necessarily the darker side, but the human side of the guy who had problems and troubles and complications like we all do. And Ernie hid it. And here's the problem. When you hide it for so long, and he did it all his life, behind this image, behind this mask, you become a prisoner of it. And that created difficulties for Ernie later in life. So I talked to 100 people who knew him really well, and I had conversations with Ernie. This book started out as an autobiography, didn't work out. So what I'm trying to get at is the man behind the smile, behind Let's Play 2.
We got one of your release things about the book, Ron, and it says Ernie Banks, one of America's most iconic, which you mentioned, that beloved and misunderstood baseball players. Talk to us about how you think he was misunderstood.
Well, it's just the way that he tried to hide behind this image. For instance, Ernie had 4 marriages, and they all ended badly.
I did not know.
He was Yeah, they all ended badly. The last one, there wasn't a divorce, but they didn't see each other for the last 8 or 9 years.
Wow.
He was estranged from his children. He had twin sons. They're wonderful guys. They live out here in California, where I am. And I talked to them, and they were very honest with me about the problems and the pleasures of growing up as Ernie Banks' son. I found his third wife, a woman named Marjorie Lott, and she told me about how that he was so introverted. He stayed and kept everything inside behind the sunny image that it caused him problems. And she tried to go to get him to seek therapy, and he really wouldn't do it. We talked about, for instance, he was always very sunny and cheerful about, well, we didn't get to the World Series, and it was terrible, it was awful, but you smile through it. Well, the truth is, it drove him nuts. He'd go to World Series, a Hall of Fame reunions, Cooperstown every year, and he'd be on with these, he'd be in a room with Reggie Jackson and Warren Spahn and Lou Brock and Hank Aaron, and he'd say, what was it like? What was it like being in the World Series? And they'd just laugh at him. Oh, Ernie, you were playing for the Cubs. You were never going to get in the World Series. Well, at that point, he did see a psychiatrist. I mean, Ernie's life was very, very complicated, and he just tried to hide it behind all of the sunniness and the cheerfulness. Now, the sunniness and the cheerfulness were real. That's how he approached life. But the fact that he couldn't deal with the people around him with his problems caused him a lot of pain.
Ernie come out of the Negro Leagues, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Did he have? Was he like most African American baseball players that had to endure, racism on the road with the team, or?
Well, yeah, he did come out of the Negro Leagues late in 1953. The Kansas City Monarchs finished their season in Pittsburgh. Okay. Now there's still it's mid-September, so there's still a little bit time left in the baseball season. So Buck O'Neill, the great Buck O'Neill, was his manager.
Okay.
He gives him $10. He gives him $10 and a bus ticket to Chicago. So Ernie shows up in Chicago with Gene Baker, a fine young black infielder who they brought up, so Ernie wouldn't be alone. They're the first 2 black men ever to wear a Cubs uniform in Wrigley Field. Okay, they go out there and they're living on the South Side in a hotel, and Ernie had been used to traveling with the Monarchs. They stayed together. They stayed in the same hotels, ate in the same restaurants, hung out. Well, now when the game was over, the white players all went to their homes on the North Side. Ernie and Gene, went down to the South Side, and there was an adjustment. Now they go on their first road trip. Okay, they go to St. Louis, and the bus pulls up in front of a hotel, and the white players get out, and then a black man drives up. Ernie and Gene get in a car and drive over to the man's rooming house on the black side of town. Well, Ernie'd never seen anything like this. What's this all about? He's finally getting his glimpse of what life in the first white environment he's ever been in. He grew up in Dallas, totally segregated, never really had a conversation with a white man, a real conversation, till he was in the Army when he was like 20 years old. So there was a lot of adjustment for him. Yeah, that's the answer to that question.
Okay.
I seen in one of his divorces, she got his 500th home run ball.
Oh, damn.
Wow, that must have been tough on him for that.
Well, actually, what she got, it was even more than that. Ernie won back-to-back. Ernie got back-to-back MVP awards, 1958 and 1959. Pretty remarkable. I think the Cubs finished in 6th place both years, but he was so great. So Marjorie, this woman I talked to, did get, not a baseball, but both MVP awards.
Wow.
Really?
All right. Now, this is great. I talked to the lawyer, Ernie's lawyer, who took him to court and got the MVP awards back, claiming that she had gotten the awards under duress. All right, so now he's got the awards back, and guess what? They went missing again.
Oh.
To this day, guys, they're both those MVP awards, which would be worth a fortune.
Yes.
Are either in a storage locker somewhere, or somebody's attic, or maybe they're just gone. Maybe they're just lost. This is not unusual. See, because baseball things like that didn't become collectibles until about the 80s. Before that, they weren't really worth anything, and players just wouldn't take good care of them. Well, now, they're worth a fortune. But can you imagine those those are the two greatest awards they ever received, and nobody knows where they are.
Wow. Unbelievable.
I bet they're in the black market somewhere.
Yeah.
Some skinny kid collects baseball cards has probably got one somewhere.
Could be, but he couldn't. He couldn't sell it.
He can't sell it.
Tried to put it out on the market. People would know. The FBI would know. You know, they have units tracking things like that down, keeping an eye on. Fake collectibles is a big deal these days.
Yes.
You can make a lot of money. A lot of the stuff that's out there that are in people's collections are really phony.
Back with more of our Tailgate Talk conversation after this.
From day one, First National Bank has been built on a strong foundation of community first. First to lend a helping hand, first to help with community events and fundraisers, first to support local students, athletic programs, and civic organizations, first to support events like United Way, Relay for Life, and many more charitable events, and most importantly, working for our great community. Without you, there'd be no First National Bank. Making communities great together, that's what we strive for.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Daly & Son Car Care is Ardmore's only one-stop auto repair and tire shop. Whether it's major mechanic or brake work or routine maintenance like an oil change or lube job, Daly & Son Car Care has been satisfying customers all over with their fast and friendly service. They're also your headquarters for quality Cooper tires. Stop by and see Wayne, Nikki, or Dale at 25600 Main Street in Ardmore, Tennessee, or call them at 931-427-4651. They're on Facebook too. Daly & Son Car Care, open Monday through Friday, 7:30 till 5, and Saturday, 7:30 till noon. P4 Physical Therapy is a new outpatient provider offering community-based care with a unique partnership model that allows them to consistently deliver world-class outpatient care, emphasizing personalized hands-on treatment. Whether it's orthopedic, physical, geriatric, or manual therapy, sports or neuro rehab, telehealth, or most any type of muscle or joint pain, P4 Physical Therapy promises to treat you with integrity, compassion, faithfulness, and selflessness. Locations in Athens, Huntsville, and Winfield, Alabama, as well as Fayetteville and Knoxville, Tennessee. Look for them on Facebook or online at p4physicaltherapy.com.
Your roof is the first line of defense for your home. Do you have water stains on your ceiling, paint peeling off your walls, shingles missing? It's probably time for you to get your free roof inspection. Locally owned and operated, licensed, and insured, Yellowhammer Roofing is the Yellowhammer State Hometown Team. Yellowhammer Roofing. Let our family protect what's most important to you, your family. 256-232-1933 or online at yellowhammerroofing.com.
The world is changing. Changes.
The Tailgate Talk app has changed. It's got a new name and a new look. It's now known as PAS Plus, and it's your home for Applebee's Tailgate Talk, along with James Clement Sports and Calhoun Basketball.
Change never hurt, huh?
Look for the download links at PASnetwork.net or TailgateTalk.net. PAS Plus, Play Action Sports, plus a little extra. PAS Plus from Play Action Sports. We continue with our conversation on the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
The attitude he had, this outward sunniness and all this stuff, trying to hold in, was that did that come from maybe his something in his upbringing?
Yes. The key to understanding Ernie was that throughout his life he wanted to avoid drama, avoid conflict, avoid controversy. When trouble came, he walked away. When controversy came, he walked away. This started in his early days in Dallas. He ran with a gang, got kids who got in trouble, like kids do. And whenever there was real trouble, they would look around and Ernie would be gone. His nickname in high school was Casper the Ghost.
Wow.
Just never
disappeared.
He was just never there. Well, that was the key to his life. Whenever he got in trouble, whenever there was trouble at home with the kids, he's raising two rambunctious young sons. Jerry Banks told me this. he would get up and get in the car and drive away. Well, it must have driven his mother nuts, and so that was the key whenever there was trouble. When the Civil Rights Revolution had heated up in the 60s, right? Protests and movement towards legislation and so on. Hank told me this. I called Ernie and called Willie Mays. And now Hank was very politically engaged. He was involved in this, making statements and joining protests. He said, Ernie, Willie, you guys have got to help. You've got to speak up. I'm not the only one. We can have a real effect here. Ernie wouldn't do it. It just wasn't in his nature. Again, avoiding conflict, avoiding drama. But when you do that, when you don't face up to the drama and the conflict that comes to everybody's life, when you try to avoid it at all times, it can cause you trouble. It can cause you problems, and it did to Ernie later in life.
Yeah, you've got to have an outlet for your emotions. If your professionalism is baseball and you're hiding it, you've got to have some kind of outlet.
But
whether it be a psychiatrist or somebody to talk to, or a hobby that you can absorb yourself into to get all that stuff.
Or even
going.
your family.
Or your family, exactly.
If you can relate to your family, he never really could. Now, both of his sons adore him, but they were frustrated by him too. End of his life, he's living in Chicago, pretty much by himself. They're living in California. They talk on the phone, but he was kind of a lost soul his last years in Chicago. It was kind of sad. I'm making this book sound very dour, and there are a lot of laughs in it. I mean, we were talking about 1969. This is the 50th anniversary of the Amazing Mets. Boys, amazing is not the adjective they use in Chicago.
Exactly.
Ron, just reading.
So you're gonna be reading a lot about the.
Ron, just reading here on Wikipedia. It said, did him and Leo DeRosa have like a strained relationship?
Oh, strained isn't the word. Try poisonous.
Oh, wow.
See, here you had Leo coming to town, and he looks around. And Leo needs to be number one. He had the greatest ego of any, complete opposite of Ernie. Great ego, and he didn't care who knew it. He sees Ernie as Mr. Cub, and Ernie told me this. He said Leo thought he should be Mr. Cub. Well, he comes to town. And he immediately starts ripping him in public to the press. Knock off that Mr. Cub crap. Just really humiliating him. Now, in the locker room, it was worse. He'd go on tirades. There was one game they lost 9-2, and there was a ball that went up in the air between Ernie at first base and Glenn Beckert at second base. Fell. Now, Beckert got the error, was charged with the error. But, Leo comes in and he starts screaming, my grandmother could have, to Ernie, my grandmother could have caught that ball, you old man, why are you here? Well, in the first place, the score was 9-2. I mean, a drop ball wasn't really the key moment of the game. but now Ernie's looking around the locker room, and he sees his teammates who adored him, who respected him, who admired him. They're looking at him with pity in their eyes. I mean, it was a low moment that Leo should stoop to that. But here, again, remember, avoiding drama, avoiding conflict. Ernie never said a bad word about Leo in public. In private, he said plenty. Till the day Ernie died, whenever asked about Leo, I was getting older, he was just trying to motivate me, I needed a kick in the pants. He would never say a bad word ever. That was the way it was throughout his life. Casper the Ghost.
Wow.
I'll be damned.
I was looking through some of the pictures in this book, and one was amusing. He talked about 1969. There was a picture of him helping one of the guys back into the stands over the fence who had, it says, a not entirely sober fan.
Well, that was Willie Smith, the center fielder, who the bleacher bums are. The bleacher bums are one of the funniest parts of this book. I mean, these guys had a ball. You can't imagine it. They're, the outfield wall. It's about 3 feet wide, separating the bleachers from the field. They would march along the wall, and there's a guy playing a trumpet, and they're marching along the wall while the game is going on. I mean, these guys had fun. Well, Ron Grousel, the guy's name was Ron Grousel, was sort of the head of the Bleacher Bums, and he fell onto the field one day when it was marching along the wall. He had more than one beer, let's just say. Well, before the security guards can close in on him, Willie Smith, the center fielder, boosts him back into the stands. Gives him a hand up, and he clambers over the wall and gets away from the security guards and goes out enjoying the game. Probably had another 4 or 5 beers. I mean, the Bleacher Bums were just a riot. The fans, you know, in Chicago, when they think about '69, they think about, the terrible ending. But for 5 months, they had a ball. The Cubs were winning, and they were loving it. I mean, they were starved for something. They hadn't won in so long.
Right. And I saw another picture in here, too. When he was in high school, he played football because his school didn't even have a baseball team.
Didn't have a baseball team, didn't have a baseball diamond, didn't have a basketball court. Now he played basketball at the Y, not far from his home. But football was the only sport. The coach made him run track as well to stay in shape. But basically it was football. So Ernie didn't really start playing baseball until he was a teenager and playing softball in the parks, and that's where he was discovered.
Wow. I guess that guy falling out of the bleachers, he had too many old styles, I guess.
Well, I mean, the Bleacher Bums, what they did was they counted how many beers you'd had by the cup. Well, they went up and made friends with an elderly woman who was pouring beer, and she would not always count them when, because you had to pay and then by the cup. She would kind of just slip them a free one.
Ron, it's amazing.
Those Bleacher Bums were a riot. Oh, golly.
Ron, it's amazing how they've, renovated Wrigley from what it used to be. It just makes it look like a brand new ballpark compared.
Well, they did. They've got the flashing lights and all that stuff that every ballpark does. But the important thing is that they've kept it. They haven't torn it down.
Yeah.
It's still the original. That old hand-operated scoreboard is still there. It's a civic landmark. And the houses across the streets where you can watch from the rooftops. Now that's all corporate now.
Yeah,
right. That's all. You got to pay as much money to get onto one of those rooftops as you do to get into the ballpark.
Really?
Just about. It's all very corporate and suites, and they're building a museum. There's a lot of new construction over there that I went by it. I was just in Chicago publicizing the book, and I hadn't been by it since they'd started it. And it's totally different. The streets around there, and there's a big plaza out on the left field side where people can gather and watch the games and have a beer. It's totally different. But the ballpark itself is still the same, and that's what you got to concentrate on, I guess.
I highly advise.
If you like your nostalgia,
Yeah. I highly advise if anybody hasn't been, you need to go at least once to Wrigley.
Oh, I think so. I mean, it and Fenway are the only old. Did you know Dodger Stadium is now the third oldest ballpark in baseball?
Wow, I did not know that.
I didn't know that.
And Angel Stadium's the fourth. So it's only Fenway and Wrigley that are the original ballparks that are still alive. And yeah, I maybe I'm prejudiced. I prefer Wrigley. I think the sightlines are a little better. But I think if you're at all interested in the way it used to be, you need to visit one of those two ballparks or both.
Yeah, absolutely.
And go ahead, Tom.
I was going to ask, let everybody know how they could get a copy of your book.
Well, the name of the book is Let's Play 2, The Legend of Mr. Cub, The Life of Ernie Banks. It was just published just a couple of weeks ago. And it's on Amazon. It's in bookstores. It's readily available. And I hope people want to check it out. It's not only a history of Ernie, but of the Cubs in that era, a little bit about what we were talking about Chicago, which was very segregated. And I have a lot in there about growing up in Dallas. It was kind of the unexplored part of his life, and it's extremely important. People I talked to this old Ernie was the second of 12 kids. Okay, they lived in a shotgun house in Dallas. You open the front door, you look through to the back, wood burning stove, no indoor plumbing, outhouse in the back, no electricity.
Wow.
He was the second of 12. Well, the first of his mother's children is Edna, his sister, and she just turned 90. And she lives in Dallas and told me all kinds of stories. And I was able to find 5 of his high school classmates who told me more about the neighborhood and the community, and it was very poor and it was very segregated, of course. But still there was a community there, and people could make something of themselves. His old high school I visited and talked to some of the students there. It's now an arts high school magnet, performing arts, and visual arts, but it's still the Booker T. Washington School that he went to, and the original building is still there. So the parts about Dallas were very interesting to me. So there's a lot about Ernie, but there's a lot about his teammates, and there's just a lot of richness to the whole story, and I tried to encapsulate as much of it as I could.
Well, Ron, you've done a great job. I'm looking forward to reading the book. Tim's got a copy right here. I may steal his and take it home with me for a little bit.
Okay, guys.
Thank you, Ron.
All right, it's great to be on with you. I really enjoyed it.
Hey, it's great to have you, Ron. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Ron Rapaport, the author of Let's Play 2, The Legend of Mr. Cub, The Life of Ernie Banks. Great conversations. I love to hear these stories.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Applebee's Tailgate Talk.
While others have come and gone, the Lions Den Gym has been roaring as a workout and exercise fixture in Athens, growing from its humble basement beginnings in 1981 to their current 10,000 square foot location at 212 Commercial Drive in Athens. The Lions Den offers 24/7 access to their ever-expanding equipment collection that includes treadmills and climbers, elliptical trainers, stationary bikes, loose weights and dumbbells, and over 45 different weight machines. Contact the Lions Den Gym about a membership today at 256-652-2627. Visit them online at lionsdengym.com or on Facebook. The Lions Den Gym, 256-652-2627. When you're looking for something special for your next event, why not bring in the most amazingly fine flavored shaved ice this side of the islands, Kona Ice of Decatur in Athens. Whether it's a school or major sporting event, a picnic, or a festival, Kona Ice brings the fun and laughter. From their steel drum music to their signature flavor wave, where guests can flavor their own shaved ice. No event is too big or too small. Kona Ice makes fundraising easy too. Call Kona Ice today and tell them what you have in mind. 256-566-5298. Or look for them on your favorite social media platform. Kona Ice of Decatur in Athens. 256-566-5298.
For screen printing, sign printing, banners, logo design, and more, look no further than That Shirt Printing Place. Located at 709 North Jefferson Street in Athens. Call 256-444-1827. That Shirt Printing Place. Visit them online at thatshirtprintingplacellc.com. Look for them on Facebook too. That Shirt Printing Place. 256-444-1927. That Shirt Printing Place.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Alabama.
This message presented by the AHSAA and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
Bring the man in motion across the line of scrimmage. They give it to him on the sweep play. He's outside, got a little bit of room now. Down the sideline, cuts it back. He's angling for the end zone, and he will score. Wow. Touchdown.
Join us this football season for Limestone County football, streamed right to your computer or mobile device on the Play Action Sports app. You can also hear it on your Amazon Echo by saying, Alexa, open Play Action Sports. Listen for the replay of select games Sunday afternoons on WKAC and download each game from the archives anytime you want. Limestone County football from Play Action Sports and 1080 WKAC. You're listening to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
We've got Jordan McCray of the Birmingham Stallions, the center, and the USFL champions. Jordan, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me, man. Happy to be on.
Man, yeah, we're rocking and rolling here. We've been waiting on you all morning. So, the USFL is startup team, the Birmingham Stallions. They're straight out of Birmingham playing. And what was it like playing in the new Protective Stadium? Is that's the name of it?
Yeah, no, it was amazing, man. The stadium was great. The fans, we had a little bit of an advantage being the home team So we had a good turnout every game. The fans were great. Just the whole process was really good, man. Because I've been a part of a couple of startup leagues, and this was definitely done the right way. I was very, very, very happy and pleased with how everything went.
I've never been in it. I wasn't able to get to a game this year, but we're like an hour and a half north, so
Okay.
But I seen the stadium when it was being built, and it was extremely nice. So
Yeah. Good stadium, good turf. Felt good playing on it. Good turnout every week, man. It was great.
And just a little side note, I'm glad UAB can now play and have them a home field they can call.
I went to UCS, so we played UAB when we were both in the Conference USA.
Yeah.
And I forget what the name of the old field was.
Legion Field, yes, sir.
The dump.
Legion was 9 to your feet, or if you fell on it, to your body. So I'm definitely glad they're playing that somewhere else too.
No doubt.
Yeah. Well, Jordan, I just wanted to say real quick. I know you're from Miami, and do you have family and friends that are still there? And if so, was everybody okay through the hurricane?
Yeah, no, I'm actually here now, and Miami didn't really get that much of the storm. We got a little bit of wind and rain, but not too much.
Good.
Yeah, Naples took the brunt of that one.
Yeah, they took the brunt.
And I know some of my friends and family in Orlando. But everybody's okay. Everybody's safe now. Just back to the rebuild process.
Well, good. That's great to hear.
Jordan, what was it like playing for Coach Holtz?
Man, I love Coach Holtz, man. Coach is a real football guy, real good, great coach, but a great man also. Able to talk to him off the field, and really felt like it was more of a friendship than a player-coach aspect of it. And a brilliant offensive mind, and a really good leader also. Really knew how to get us ready for every game, and part of the major reason why we went 11. Coach, so great guy, great coach, and everything.
And that Bo Scarborough ain't too bad either, is he?
Hey, Bo is a beast, man. I seen him play at Alabama and then a couple of games, and when he was in Detroit, so I already knew the type of player he was from there. But really, I was impressed with how much of a student of the game he was. Like, he came in like halfway in through the season, and he's one of the first running backs that actually came to our offensive line meetings. Like, he wanted to know exactly how we're going to be blocking things up so that he can know exactly where he needed to be at. And that's part of the reason why we were so successful, is he really wanted to be really good or great, and took the time in the film room and in practice to do so. So
that's I don't know that I've ever heard of a running back coming to the offensive line meetings. That's a new one.
Yeah, no, it was a couple of guys, but like some guys would do it one time, but it was a constant thing. Like, they'll get out of their position meetings, and he'll come sit in with us and see exactly what we were going over, what we were seeing blitz pickup wise, how we were setting up the blocks for our combination blocks, so he can know where he needed to be at, so he can be his best version for our team. And it was cool, man. I enjoyed that aspect of it.
Yeah. Is that all just because of playing for Coach Saban, you think?
I would like to think so. Yeah, Bo was always very, very tedious when it came to his preparation, and it's probably an ignorant of him as well. But I would think that some of that came from Coach Saban as well.
Well, and obviously, Bo's a great running back and stuff, but, y'all got to give yourselves credit as well. I watched just about every one of y'all's games in the entirety, and the offensive line, and obviously you being the captain of that line, did a wonderful job, man. Pass blocking, run blocking. Some games y'all dominated. You really did. I won't say you made it real easy for them, but you made it pretty easy for them for sure. You really did.
Yeah, we had a really good group of guys. Coach Heimbach being our offensive line coach, great coach as well. And we just had a really close group of guys that all wanted to be great, all have separate individual goals that tied into what we wanted to do as a team. So it just worked out really well.
One thing I wanted to ask you was, you've been in AFL, AAF, XFL, IFL, and, of course, now the USFL. And all of them have, which, maybe not for the offensive line, but there are different rules, different ways of doing things in each league. Did you have a favorite league to kind of play in? Was indoor totally, I imagine, different than playing outside?
Yeah, indoor is a lot different. It's just it's a faster game, and it's really not. It is football, but it's really more about your one-on-one matchups. Like in the indoor league, you can't twist or anything. Defensive lineman can't twist. run stunts or anything like that. So you're going against your guy for 100% of the game, and most of it in the indoor league is going to be pass protection. But if I had to say which one was my favorite, man, it would probably be, I love winning. So playing in the IFL where we won a championship with the Massachusetts Pirates, and then playing here in the USFL was probably my favorites. And then also playing AAF with Coach Spurrier, and we had a really good team there. We're 7-1 before the season ended abruptly. But yeah, those are all of it's fun, man. But those are probably my top 3 places.
Okay. Well, now moving forward, I know next year the plan was for every home team to have their games in their stadiums. Is that still? Are they still holding to that, or do you know? I'm
not 100% sure, but from what I've heard, and I don't know if this is like a correct source or anything, but things I've heard is that there's going to be 2 hub markets now. So Birmingham still being one, and then the Northern Division will have their own hub spot. And I've heard it might be Michigan, but these are all just rumblings, so no direct source or anything like that. But I don't think we're going to go into everybody in their respective markets until year 3 of the USFL.
Now, Jordan, did I hear this right? Y'all, every team staying in the same hotel. Is that correct?
Yes, that's we were all staying in. I forget what the name of it now, but it was you know what? It was actually a lot more smooth than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was, like all those guys, everybody competitive, everybody, talking trash and stuff like that. It really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Everything was pretty simple, to be honest.
Well, that's good because, that could have been for an abrupt brawl in the bar for wherever, for sure, man. Yeah.
Now, did you ever catch one of your opposing teammates or opposing players in there, maybe sitting at the bar having a good drink, and you're playing the next day, and you just start buying him shots? Kept drinking the shots, and you kept buying him, and the next day he really was puking on the sidelines and stuff?
No, we didn't do nothing like that, but we would always trash talk us. Especially football is a small world, so a lot of the guys from different teams you already had a prior relationship with, whether it be on college team that you went against or a pro team, and then in the NFL. So it would be a lot of just jokingly trash talk, whenever we go to breakfast, or if we see it. Mostly I'm thinking about is when we played the Houston team. A lot of those guys I know from prior places that we've been at together, and we would just talk trash about what we're going to do to the next guy tomorrow and things of that nature. But it was all lighthearted fun, though.
We'll be back with more of our Tailgate Talk conversation after this. With all the technology around us today, it's hard to keep up. Goldsmith Technical Services specializes in residential and commercial computer and electronics repair, automation, IT services, and home theater systems and audiovisual services. Goldsmith Technical Services. Call or text 256-203-4226. Visit them on Facebook or online at goldsmithtechnical.com. Let them tailor a package that meets your needs. Goldsmith Technical Services, 256-203-4226. Spick and Span Power Washing. Patios, sidewalks, driveways, houses, roofs, gutters, and windows. Commercial or residential. Serving Athens, Fayetteville, Harvest, Huntsville, Grant, and Coleman. Visit their Facebook page and see what they can do for you. Get your free estimate. Call 256-795-0505. Spick and Span Power Washing.
We are the NFHS. That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations. But really, what we stand for, together with the AHSAA, are the 138,000 high school sports students in Alabama. And so we stand. We stand for the runners, soccer, and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, administrators, and officials. We stand for the swimmers, football players, and wrestlers. We stand for the golfers, softball, and volleyball players. We stand as the national leader and advocate for high school athletics and all who participate in them and make them possible. Because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete together. To learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit nfhs.org.
Keep up with local school, travel, youth, and amateur sports throughout the week with the Play Action Sports Update. Listen weekday mornings at 7:30 and weekday afternoons at 1:30 and 3:30 as we bring you the latest scores, news, and announcements from Limestone County and surrounding communities. That's the Play Action Sports Update 3 times a day, Monday through Friday on 1080 WKAC. We continue with our conversation on the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
As long as it's lighthearted fun. We can't have a brawl there in Sheraton or where it was you guys were staying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, on a side note, so how did a 6'2", 310-pound man become an accountant?
You know what? It kind of just happened, like spur of the moment. Like I used to post because my goal is to get back into the NFL at some point in time, and so I would just post film of me playing in all these different leagues on my Twitter account. And my really good friend Joey Grant came to me and was like, "Hey, I know about a better way that you can go about this. Where your film can live and you can interact with any opportunity that you might come across." And I was like, "Okay, that works." And then the more and more I started going on GMTM and seeing like, man, this is a really good product, I wanted to be a part of it. And Joey was really cool about letting me come on and reach out to similar guys in my situation that are trying to find opportunities and just kind of let them be the person that advertises themselves, and tell their story. So no, really how it went is a really organic conversation, and I love doing it, man. It feels good to be able to try and help guys, not just football guys, but anybody trying to chase their dream or wanting to have a say in their own narrative, to have a platform in order to do that.
Very cool.
That would be a good message for kids, because our audience is our local athletes and coaches, that'd just be a good message to send along with them, because some of these kids start playing, they think they're going to go college, pro, and whatever, and life doesn't always turn out that way. Most of the time, it doesn't.
Yeah. You got to be. I remember a coach told me you got to be lucky and good. So there, you got to have a good foundation to start off of, and I'm sure everybody in your area does. And then also just having, an outlet for being able to be seen. A lot of guys get overlooked because, for whatever reason, they're not in the biggest of areas or not in a talent-rich city or anything like that. But that's really what the initiative of GMTM is to be able to link those guys, whether it be a coach or a player, to the opportunities that they want to fulfill their dreams.
So Miami is home. It's hot down there at this time of year.
We got what we felt like was I guess a cool breeze, and it was 73 degrees yesterday morning, and it was like, okay, this is like our winter. Like people got on and sweatpants. Yeah, everybody's talking about how cool it was this morning, and then back today we're in the mid 80s.
Right. Well, it's not the highs for me, because I work down there a lot, in Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, and Miami. I actually go to Miami every now and then. It's not the highs in the afternoon, because there's always some thunderstorms to cool it down. It's the morning when you wake up and it's 85 degrees.
Yeah.
You start the day off sweating, man.
Exactly, man. And it's just so humid down here too. You really can't get away from it. Just feel like somebody's breathing on you all day. So
do you ever get used to it?
Yeah, you get used to it. But then you start to realize when you go to different places, like just how hot and sticky it is down here. Because 85 here doesn't feel like 85 if it got to that in Cali. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it does not. No, sir.
Yeah, it feels totally different, man. So you appreciate the coolness whenever you can get it.
I imagine those high school practices was pretty rough.
It was tough. The camp, and we're doing 2-a-days and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it definitely helped build your stamina and your character, because it was tough to make it through those.
They probably have heat timeouts all season long.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a break. When the ref is asking for water, maybe everybody should take a break.
That's good.
Now, coming out of high school, how'd you get recruited to UCF? What other schools were after you?
So me and I have an identical twin brother, and we both knew that we wanted to go to the same school, and we weren't heavily recruited coming out of high school, but we had my older brother was playing at UCF, so that's really the reason that we went there. And then we had a scholarship offer from FAU, and then one to USF as well. But this was before we got offered to play at USF, and then Jim Levitt, I believe it was, got fired like the week later. So it kind of went away after that. So we weren't heavily recruited out of high school.
And so you go to play for Coach O'Leary, correct?
Yes.
How was that?
Coach O'Leary was a tough coach, man, but he was a really, really good coach. Never promised you anything. I remember one of the main things that even some of the guys talk about now is he never promised playing time or anything like that. Just promised that you were going to get your degree as long as you stayed here for 4 years. And that's what everybody did when they were there. But we won a lot of games, man. He instilled a lot of good traits into us that I still use to this day, man. So Coach O'Leary was a great coach, and it was fun, man. I made some of my best friends at UCF, so definitely one of the best 4 years I've ever had.
Then got drafted by my Green Bay Packers.
There it is, yeah. Green Bay was an experience, man. That was my first time ever seeing snow was playing in Green Bay.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering how that weather shock,
especially coming out of Miami, right?
Yeah, so when we were in training camp and it was 60-something degrees like the first day, I was like, what is going on here? Like, I never been a part of something like this, but Green Bay was a really good time, and got to play under some really good players and learn a lot that is helping me to this day still.
Yeah, 60-something degrees, they're thinking you ain't seen nothing.
Oh, I get down there in Palm City on the other, same coast, but a little farther north. And it's a 65-degree morning, and I'm out there in shirt sleeves, man. These guys coming in with boggins and scarf wrapped around their neck.
Man, it's different, man. It's different.
That's funny.
I love it. So, guys, what else you got to talk to Jordan about? Let's talk about next year, next season. It's still a ways away.
I'm wondering, being a UCF alum, did you jump on the national championship bandwagon?
I definitely did. 1,000%. Yep. 2017 is our national championship. It's in the college. What is it? College World Book Series.
Yeah.
Recognized as national champions, and get a lot of flack from it because everybody doesn't see it our way, but I'm claiming it.
Now, did Coach Frost get in over his head at Nebraska?
Yeah, that's a good question.
You know what it is? I think it's just I still believe Coach Frost is a really, really good coach, but it's hard to the type of talent that you need for the offense that he's trying to run is Nebraska is, I believe, a hard sell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like need speed guys. A lot of those guys are from the sunny parts of the Americas, and there's unless you were like born and raised in it. Because my older brother used to live in Omaha. There's really nothing there.
Yeah. There's cornfields.
Yeah, and so it's a tough sell. I believe he's still a really good coach, but he might have bit off just a little bit more than he could chew. But
George,
you kind of
go ahead.
Like a lot of the time, because I've had this question asked to me a lot, is like if I was in his shoes and just went undefeated at Nebraska and UCF called me and said, hey, you can come be the head coach here, I would leave in a heartbeat because that's my alma mater. That's where I played at. That's where I would like to make a change at as well. So for him to go back to his hometown or where he played college ball at is really not – I feel like a lot of people would have done the same thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, Jordan, did you know Mackenzie Milton? Did you play with him?
I didn't play with Mackenzie, but I go back to UCF often, and me and Mackenzie have developed a pretty good relationship since he was there, and I was always over there training or just visiting, and still have a pretty good relationship to this day. So didn't get to play with him, but I know he's a great guy, was an amazing player, man, and it's an unfortunate situation what happened to him.
Yes. And to have the determination and the strength, the courage to come back from what he did, man, that's a testament to him.
Incredible. incredible human being, was an amazing football player, but as good of a player he was, he's an even better guy, man.
Well, Jordan, man, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Hope to see you back in Birmingham next year and get you back on the show maybe sometime before football season.
Good luck, man.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jordan McCray, the center of the Birmingham Stallions, USFL champions, back to the state of Alabama. You're listening to Applebee's Tailgate Talk on WKAC, the Big 1080.
Come see all your friends at Applebee's in Athens. 12 minutes guaranteed or it's free Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. 7 items to choose from. Can't make it for lunch? Visit them for happy hour, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. or late night. Half-price appetizers with beverage purchase, 6 appetizers to choose from. Call 233-4430 or order online at Applebee's.com and pick your meal up with Carside to go. Applebee's Neighborhood Grill, Highway 72 in Athens, just off I-65. Eating good in the neighborhood.
For screen printing, sign printing, banners, logo design, and more, look no further than That Shirt Printing Place. Located at 709 North Jefferson Street in Athens. Call 256-444-1827. That Shirt Printing Place. Visit them online at thatshirtprintingplacellc.com. Look for them on Facebook too. That Shirt Printing Place. 256-444-1927. That Shirt Printing Place.
Takes a snap. He's rolling to his left. He's looking downfield. He's looking in the end zone. Throws a jump ball. It's complete. Touchdown, Golden Eagles.
Join us this coming season for Athens High School football. Greg Young will bring you all the exciting play-by-play online at WKAC1080.com or on your WKAC Sports app. You can also hear it on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device by saying Play WKAC Sports. Listen for the radio replays Saturdays at noon and check out the archives on the WKAC Sports page. Golden Eagle football from 1080 WKAC. You've been listening to the best of Tailgate Talk. You can hear the archive of this and other shows online at tailgatetalk.net. Join us next Saturday at 10 a.m. Applebee's Tailgate Talk is a production of Play Action Sports on 1080 WKAC.